The Shokz Open Run Pro 2 headphones have just dropped for consumer purchase here in the UK in August 2024, boasting groundbreaking acoustic improvements over its predecessor. And if the early pre-release reviews here on YouTube are anything to be believed, putting these on are like taking a trip to the Royal Albert Hall for an immersive concert-like experience. Well, spoiler alert, those reviews are either paid for or the reviewers have been sent these headphones for free in return for a positive review. These headphones are not anything like what the promotional materials, adverts and the paid reviewers are saying. However, when you put it into context and consider what they are designed to achieve, they are worth some of the hype. So in this review, we'll take a look at the good, the bad and the ugly, and ultimately if these are a good choice for you to purchase. So let's get into it. But before we do, could I ask that if you do decide to subscribe to the channel today, please leave a comment below saying that you subscribed so that I can see it, say hello and thank you for helping me grow the channel. So let's start by saying that this review is not sponsored and I've not been sent these by Shokz. I spent £169 or $179 of my own money on these, so my thoughts are unbiased and totally my own. Okay, so the basics first. The Shokz Open Run Pro come in two colours. Currently here in the UK, you've got the black and the orange is what I went for. They come in two sizes, the standard size, which I also went for, or a mini size for those with a smaller head. They're the latest generation in Shokz bone conduction headphones, but this time with a fusion of air conduction also. We'll talk more about why that is so significant shortly later in the video. They are slightly heavier than the previous version, but still very light at 30 grams. In the box, you'll get a slightly bigger case than before. You'll get the instructions, a warranty, and a big and significant change, a USB-C charger cable. Shokz have also increased the battery size, giving a battery life estimate of 12 hours of playback, and a quick charge of 5 minutes, giving you 2.5 hours of playback also. Realistically, however, the battery life will depend on the volume percentage you listen to audio for, and for most bone conducting earphones, it's likely that you'll be jacking these up to 100% most of the time. The headphones are rated at IP55, meaning that they're splash proof, sweat and rain proof, but not fully waterproof. They use Bluetooth 5.3, which supports multi-point pairing, meaning that you can pair this with multiple devices at the same time. It has a wireless range of up to 10 meters. It also comes with two noise cancelling mics for making what Shokz claim are crystal clear phone calls. They have a frame that is nickel titanium alloy, which keeps its shape perfectly, which is consistent with all of the previous iterations of Shokz headphones. The command controls for volume, pause, skip and repeat are all more prominent than in the previous version, which is a welcome update and makes the job of controlling your music while running easier. Okay, so why have I decided to buy these headphones? I'm a runner and generally run early in the morning. I like to run on the road, so it's very important to me that I can be aware of my surroundings, especially as we now head into the autumn months where mornings are generally going to be getting darker and darker. I love listening to music when I run, and generally I do so on almost all of my runs. Now, I owned the previous version of the Open Run headphones and honestly I hated them. I'm very drawn to open ear technology, but everything that I tried in the past, I couldn't get past the terrible sound quality, the lack of clarity, the lack of bass, and I just found that as soon as I turned the volume up enough to be able to hear the music on them, the sound deteriorated so much that it rendered them totally useless. So I've been using the Apple AirPod Pro Gen 1 and Gen 2 for the last 3 years, and I really get on well with them. The sound quality is excellent, the experience is immersive. However, there are several issues with using the AirPods for running. Number one, they are small, and if one falls out of your ear while you're running, it's likely you're going to lose it. Two, after a while, they do cause ear fatigue, and even more so on the non-pro version of the Apple EarPods or AirPods. Number three, if you sweat a lot, which I do, then they can slip out of your ear, which increases the chance of it falling out and ultimately you're going to lose it. And four, and most importantly, the transparency mode is so digitally enhanced that it's very difficult to perceive distance in the sound around you. And it's for this reason I decided to look again and ultimately purchase the Open Run Pro version 2. As I mentioned, I run on the road and try where possible to face the direction of the traffic, but it's not always possible, so I need to be able to react early if there's any traffic approaching me from behind. I will continue to use the Apple AirPod Pro Generation 2 for many of my runs, But for dark early morning runs in busier traffic periods and for races, I wanted an alternative that gives me a balance between decent sound that is loud enough and undistorted enough to enjoy it, while benefiting from the full open ear advantage for awareness of my surroundings. They would very much be my second set for headphones, or so I thought at the time. So with so much hype and promises of astounding sound quality for sports enthusiasts and orchestra-like experience, what do I actually think about these after running in them a few times? Okay, so the most important thing here to establish up front is expectation management. And although the technology for open ear and bone conduction headphones has come a long way, it's still far, far behind the in-ear and over-ear options like the Apple AirPods and the premium over-ear headphones like the Bose Quiet Comfort 35. What you do get from open ear headphones is additional levels of safety and awareness, but it's always come with a sacrifice of sound quality and volume. You sacrifice sound quality for additional safety, which for runners is, under the right circumstances, a fair trade. But the sacrifice needs to be small enough not to ruin the audio experience of the runner. And sadly, for me at least, it's why I never got on with the original Open Run headphones. So are the Shokz Open Run 2 actually any good and worth the hype, or was it all just clever marketing and good use of social media influencers? Well, let's take a closer look. For me, the biggest problem on the previous version was the lack of bass and the distortion of vibration when increasing the volume. Simply put, in order to be able to hear the previous version in anything other than a quiet room, you needed to listen to it at its maximum volume, and it sounded so tinny with no depth or bass that it was just unbearable. Shokz have worked very hard on this, introducing the addition of air conduction to complement the latest bone conduction technology. And with the assistance of air conduction, the bone conduction no longer has to work as hard as it did, and the result is a significantly less distorted sound and less vibration, even if you listen to these at 100% volume. The price that you pay for the introduction of that air conduction, however, is a reduced water resistance rating down to IP55, but it was a worthwhile trade given the drastic improvement in sound quality versus the previous version. I've also noticed that the overall volume is slightly louder too, meaning that it's now possible to listen to audiobooks and spoken word on these during runs, which simply wasn't possible in previous versions because you just couldn't hear what was being said. So this is great news. As expected, the Open Run 2 are super comfortable to wear, and you could easily wear these all day and not feel the same fatigue that you would from something like the Apple AirPods in your ear. And even when you don't want to wear them, you could quite easily wear them around your neck and you pretty much forget about them and forget that you've even got them on. And that's something that you also can't do with the AirPods. The over-ear design and the nickel alloy frame stays in place and doesn't move around pretty much at all when you're running, which is also a huge positive. And I'm a runner that likes to wear a cap when I run, and there's definitely no issues with that. And also wearing sunglasses or glasses at the same time, you're going to have no issues either. Connecting these to a Bluetooth device was super easy. I connected these both to my phone and to my Garmin watch, and I didn't get a single drop out of any of my runs at all. The buttons for controlling the music are, after a short while, very easy to find and use the same concept as the Apple AirPods for pause, skip and repeat with a single, double or triple press of the command button. Shokz also increased the size and the prominence of the command and volume buttons over previous versions, which is also a great addition, especially when you're a runner and you're running in the winter and maybe you've got some gloves on. The move to USB charging was an excellent choice by Shokz and takes away the need for remembering to pack their proprietary cable for travel and for whenever you might need to charge these. Most, if not all people now have a USB-C charger around the house, so charging these became way more convenient than it was before. The fast charge of 2.5 hours in 5 minutes is excellent. I can tell you one of the most frustrating experiences that I get as a runner is getting ready in the morning to go out for your run, picking up your headphones and realizing that they're dead and you have to wait around for them to charge again. So waiting 5 minutes to potentially see you through well over a half marathon distance is fantastic. I've only taken one phone call in these, but the sound is okay. It's not brilliant, it's okay. It's not as good as what you're going to get on something like the Bose or the Apple headphones, but it is good enough and clear enough, and I'm told that it's also perfectly acceptable on the other end of the line also. Other small details that Shokz have improved are subtle, but help enrich the experience of the use. The two conduction units at the front are now magnetised to each other, which just keeps them looking a lot tidier and more premium than the previous versions. So a lot of improvement over the previous versions, but to be honest, any improvement was going to be fairly easy to achieve on these because, in my opinion, the previous version, the benchmark was just so low. So what does it all translate to? Well, honestly, I am super impressed with the Open Run Pro 2 based on having the right expectation about what I was going to get and what they could deliver. I wanted an open ear solution without compromising on sound, and for the most part, these do deliver enough on that, and I think I'm actually going to use them more than I originally expected. If the previous version felt like the compromise was almost 90-10 for awareness over sound, now that compromise is more like 60-40, and you can run in these even in moderately noisy environments and still hear the music clearly and well defined, probably with the exception of somewhere like central London. Anywhere else you're going to be able to hear the music clearly now. The music is loud enough yet quiet enough to keep you totally aware of your surroundings. I would suggest actually that if Shokz were to do anything in order to increase the volume any louder, then you would compromise the element of the headphones that they were designed to achieve, which is that open air awareness, and would defeat the object of them in the first place. Music's got enough clarity and bass to make you feel like you're getting a decent audio experience, and there isn't any of that dreadful distortion that totally ruined the previous version. And I think I mentioned before, one of my biggest reasons for looking for an alternative to the AirPods was that although the transparency mode works reasonably well on them, it's so digitally enhanced that it was almost impossible for me to judge distance. Having the open ear element for me is a game changer, and ultimately I think it's going to keep me a lot safer on my early morning runs in the winter. However, putting these on is not like going to a concert, and that's where we come back to expectation management. What you're going to get if you invest in these is a comfortable headphone that are extremely well suited to running, cycling, and anything where you need to be aware of your surroundings. They are good enough to use as a phone headset, and they're a great way to listen to music or audiobooks around the house. If, for example, you've got children around, then you need to also be aware of what they're doing and to be able to keep them safe. You'll get good enough sound and volume that you'll be able to enjoy the audio output, and you'll get a stylish looking headset with a decently long life battery and a far easier way to charge it. What you won't get is a like-for-like replacement for your in-ear or over-ear headphones. The only way to realistically achieve that superior sound quality and immersive sound experience is through something like a Bose headset. You won't get a loud music experience with these, and although you're able to fine-tune between EQ modes with bass and treble boost, and even customize the EQ completely to your own choice, you simply can't expect to achieve the level of sound that you can on other non-open ear headphones. So all in all, are these headphones worth the hype? Well, yes and no actually. Yes, because what Shokz have done is they've solved the vibration and volume issue of bone conduction headphones without compromising on its primary objective of delivering total awareness of your surroundings. The Open Run Pro 2 are quite simply on a different planet to its previous versions, and if you're like me and tried and hated the previous versions, then I would suggest give these a try because the experience is so vastly different and so much more positive. It's like you're not trying on the next version of something, you're trying on a completely different type of headphone. And no, because like anything these days, the way it's been marketed and promoted is like you're going to get something that you would be able to get from a Sonos or a Bose system, which is simply miles from the truth. These headphones will never replace your over or in-ear premium headsets, and if you buy them expecting even half of that quality, then you're going to be drastically disappointed, that is for sure. But if you're a runner, a cyclist, or anybody that prioritizes safety and awareness, and you're willing to trade a little sound quality and a little bit of volume to achieve it, then in my opinion you can't get anything better on the market at this time than the Open Run Pro 2. At 169 British pounds or $179, they are fairly expensive for what is likely to be your second or backup pair of headphones. But if you can afford it and you're realistic about what this type of headset can deliver, then I would definitely recommend them as being a viable option for bone conduction on the market, probably for the very first time. As always, if you've got any questions, do let me know in the comments. If you've tried these out or if you've got any thoughts about them, disagree, agree with what I've said, please also let me know in the comments. If you've enjoyed the video and you've got some value from it, please consider leaving the video a thumbs up, as it really does help with the algorithm. Thank you for watching, and see you on the next video.